Linda honey. Okay, so you know that I always have to have my margie when I'm on a podcast with you. So I'm trying not to slurp and clinky. And like the dogs are on me because they like me better than you.
Yeah, they do. I can see it already.
So I'm just like, I got my drink. I got everything. I'm here. I'm just like, just living my life.
All right. Hello and welcome to Stage Door, a theater podcast hosted by a couple of regular guys. And as you can tell already, it's just one regular guy today, or average guy today, and a beautiful young woman who happens to just be my wife, but has a personality, and I love having her on.
I wouldn't. Young is exaggerating, but it's cool.
Well,
it's cool.
The guys bailed on me because we love the Theater League in Toledo, and they get us these guests that come on for these national tours, but sometimes we have to make accommodations for them, and this is when we can do it. And our guest today, Aline, is coming on from Six the Musical, which neither Holly or I have seen.
I know nothing. I have only heard from people and my child that it's good.
There you go. And so we're just like, it was really kind of last minute, and the guys were like, we can't do it. We got stuff. We got plans. So my wife was wonderful enough to step up, so I wasn't the only person on this podcast and sounding like a moron, which is always a episode. It happens every episode. So see, I already stumbled right there. See, what an idiot.
Lame.
Well, why don't we give Aline a call? She's playing one of these one of the brides of Henry the, I don't even know. Is it
V111?
Is it the 8th?
Yes.
Okay, so she's Henry the 8th who had all these wives, and she plays one of them. So let's give her a call and see how she's doing.
Get her digits.
I do. Yeah, how do I do not disturb on this thing?
You hit you pull the
screen
screen
it says
down.
focus?
You should
Do
put
not
this
disturb.
all in the podcast because this just adds
I
to
know.
it just adds to the
To the oldness?
that we're old.
We're so stupid. I don't know.
I'm like, you got to do the thing.
Yeah, do the sliding and just put it in
There's
there.
a little moon in there.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Let me pull my glasses down because I can't see it without,
Hello.
Hello, Aline. How are you doing today or tonight? We don't even know where you are.
Oh, good. I'm in Texas.
Texas. So the sun is about ready to set, but not quite yet there then right now.
Yeah, that's right. What's your name again?
My name is Kyle. Sorry. Yes.
Hi, Kyle. How you doing?
And Holly is joining us today, so you get a special treat. You don't get two
hi,
average
Holly.
guys. You get
Hello. I'm the special treat.
Yay.
Yeah. So you're in Texas, and are you like between shows right now, or how's that working?
Yeah. This week the show is in Little Rock, Arkansas. So just imagine I'm there.
Okay. I will imagine Little Rock that I've never been to before, so I'll have to use my big imagination on that one there. So when we have the people on, we love the people at the Theater League when they bring them on to us, but a lot of people that listen to this podcast are pretty hardcore listeners of theater and follow it really well. So I bet a lot of them already know about Six the Musical. So we really want to know about you and how you got into this and your process of how you became who you are and how you got into the show even. So
Totally.
yeah, I would love to hear like where you're from, how you grew up, how you fell in love with theater, and how you just got this onto this path at all.
Totally. Well, I grew up in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Both my parents are artists, and my mom is a theater director, so I grew up going to rehearsals with her and going on set with my dad. And
Oh my gosh, you had no choice basically, right? You were going to fall into it no matter what.
Exactly. It was just kind of the family business.
It's
and I
like
was
the
really
kids who
lucky
have
to-
a parent that's a doctor, and they just all become doctors.
Right.
Exactly. So thankfully, I felt very, not only supported, but I feel like I really had an inside look into what it means to, go into this artistic career because
True.
I've seen my parents go through all the ups and downs of it.
Yeah, you have a unique experience in the fact that a lot of people don't even know how to set foot in the field or how to even go, and you have a vast knowledge from your just being in the family.
Yeah, not even just like the support of it, but also kind of having a realistic expectation of how hard it is and all the sacrifice that it takes. And, I feel like I had, in a way, the most stage mom ever in that she's literally a theater director, but the least stage mom ever in that she was not over involved at all. It was kind of like, if you want to do it, you do it and I'll pick you up. You
know? She's probably very cautious about that, and making sure she's like, I don't want to push you just because I do this stuff.
Yes, and and also not bugging the directors and the teachers in the way that a lot of parents, I think, kind of overextend themselves.
Yeah. So where does your mom work at? Does she still do that right now?
Yeah, occasionally she goes back to Mexico to direct, and when I was 10, we moved to Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Which was an awesome place to grow up.
Yeah, we have been there, so I can't imagine Austin, Texas. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, a photographer friend of mine lives in Austin, so outside of Austin, so.
Totally, I love it. So basically in Austin, I started really intense ballet training when I was young, which I think really set me up for a lot of what Six is, because it's such a dance show, and so much of that technique plays into the longevity of doing this really athletic show 8 times a week. In the heels with the heavy costume and everything.
So that's like a steampunk looking heavy costume you guys have to wear throughout the whole thing.
So can you give us because like we said, we know very, very little. So you're in 6.
Well, we'll get to that. I don't want her to blow 6 yet. I want her to tell us about her life. I want to know about her. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
I just want to know who her character is.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes, I played Katherine Howard, which is the 5th wife and the pink one.
The pink one. Okay, that makes it easy. So anybody watching the show when in Toledo, when you arrive, look for the lady in pink.
That's right.
So you have that in your bio. You said, I always love pink or something in your bio on Instagram because I stalk you.
Oh, always. I was always a pink girl. And you know what's so funny is, speaking of Toledo, I actually went to the University of Michigan. That's where I got my musical theater degree.
Uh-huh.
And one of my best friends from college is from Toledo.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you had to come down to Toledo to shop anyway, right?
Exactly. I'm so excited. I'm excited to go back.
Is she still in the area then?
No, she's actually on the national tour of Moulin Rouge, which I don't know if that's played Toledo yet, but
let's give her a shout out. What's her name?
Haley Tolan.
Haley Tolan. Okay, so we gotta get.
Oh, I know her.
It sounds awful familiar. Haley Tolan. Isn't Haley Tolan? Wasn't she
in West Side Story?
She was in West Side. Yes.
Yeah, she was in the West Side movie. She was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory on Broadway. She's pretty fierce. We were in the same class at Michigan.
Yeah.
So she's my Toledo queen.
Oh my gosh, I think she went to Central. I'm pretty sure.
She went to, that was my high school. She went to Central Catholic.
Oh my gosh, look at us. We're all like the same people.
That sounds about right. Central Catholic, exactly.
Yeah, and so you were 10 years old and you started to get more into it when you were in Austin then.
Yes.
And started doing hardcore ballet. Now, hardcore ballet is not theater. So even at 10 years old, your mom or you, were you thinking theater at all? I mean, I know it's a long time ago.
Well, I think dance training is kind of the only thing that it's the most like ticking time clock thing of the 3 disciplines, so
get in early type thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's just, it's like muscle memory. You just have to put your hours in when you're young, and I'm really grateful for that. And then at some point in my in high school, I went to performing arts high school, McCallum High School. And that's when kind of theater took over my life, and I decided, like, okay, I'm going to go down this path. And then, hilariously, I started working professionally at the local union theater in Austin.
Wonderful.
Called Zach Scott Theater. And I was really lucky to start getting union points, actually, while I was still in high school.
Right, when you were just a kid still, basically, yeah.
Yeah, which
so
now
high school, young high school or old high school?
It was my junior and senior year of high school. I worked professionally, which is crazy. I mean, I just don't know how I had the energy to wake up at 7 a.m., do a full day of school, and then go do a 3-hour musical and then drive home and do it all over again. Yeah. I don't know how I did it. But
it probably didn't feel like much work to you, though, either.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember taking a lot of naps in my car during lunch.
I did that when I dropped my kid off at rehearsal. You just sit in the car for like 3 hours, and I think I once made a play using animal crackers on my knee because I was bored.
Right, because you're sitting in the car for hours, and that's true, too. You probably had your mom and your dad very supportive, taking you to all these things all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of big deals. You can say it. It's allowed. You're allowed to say it.
Yeah.
They're big deals. So that's another in that you had probably in the knowing that Michigan was such a great program and school to go to was because maybe your parents told you, or did you just know because you're just that hardcore in high school? You just
no. You know what's funny is actually because we are from Mexico, I feel like the college process is so different there because, most likely if I had stayed in Mexico, I would have tried to go to the National University, which is fabulous and free.
Yeah.
And in America, that's not how it works here. So
No.
you have
Sadly,
to
yeah.
apply and do the FAFSA and the GPA and all these acronyms that make no sense. And we had to learn a lot about that, but thankfully my teachers were super helpful, and I got into my dream school, and that's where I went.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great school. Obviously, everybody kind of that knows anything about musical theater schools knows that Michigan is.
And I know that Ohio and Michigan have this weird thing. I don't believe in that. I've never seen
the border battle.
Game. I'm Mexican, so I don't care. I love all Ohioans and Michigandans equally.
Let me tell you, when you come to Toledo, Toledo is right on the border. And Toledo, as Holly just stated, there was an old history thing. It was a border battle as to whether Toledo was going to go into Michigan or whether it was going to be part of Ohio. And so there's a lot of people who in Toledo are big fans of the University of Michigan and the Detroit Lions and all that kind of stuff up there. So it's not like nobody here is going to, and also everybody who loves theater, they don't care about sports. A lot of them don't care. They're not worried about the sports
and
ball.
even with sports, it's all in good fun. I mean, it's like, it's, we have a daughter that goes to Ohio State, so there's always this Ohio State, Michigan thing going on too. So it's just fun, though.
None of that matters. It's a wonderful school to go to. Nobody denies that. And I know for a fact that it's the top, if not one of the top programs for musical theater. You didn't really know that? You just were like applying for schools and just like, oh, I guess I'll go to Michigan.
No, if anything, it was the other way around. Like, I was only looking at musical theater programs, and I showed up, and they were like, this is the Harvard of the West. Oh. And I was like, okay, good for you. Good, I guess.
So you didn't really know that Michigan was like a well-renowned musical theater program before you got into it?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Michigan and a couple other ones are up there.
No. I'm saying the opposite thing. I only knew about the musical theater program. I didn't know the school was good besides the musical theater program.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Good
right.
Lord.
You didn't know that the academics were just high there in general and that there was a crazy, mad passion for sports at the school or any of that. You were just like, I'm just here to sing.
Yes, exactly. That's what I didn't know at all.
Gotcha. So when you graduated, did you head right to New York City and just get this job right away working on all these big shows?
Yeah, I moved to New York
seriously?
the week of my showcase. Yeah, pretty much we do a big showcase in New York the week after graduation where you perform, a song that hopefully shows off your talent really well, and a bunch of agents and casting directors come and whoever is interested in you, hopefully you get a couple meetings out of it. And I was very lucky to sign with an agency right out of showcase, and then you kind of hit the ground running. I think I did 80 something auditions my first year in New York.
Oh,
and
wow.
Thankfully started working regionally right away.
Nice.
And
so like you say, when you move there and you get your showcase, you get your agent, and the agent's like, all right, we love you, you got to sign. Now they just tell you, okay, now move here, right? I assume.
Yeah, but I'd been wanting to live in New York my whole life. I'd been waiting for that since I was 15. So
yeah,
I was thrilled.
And so you're like, I'm moving here, and you got 7 roommates probably, and just trying to for 80 auditions in a row.
What year did you graduate from University of Michigan?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah, so not too long ago at all. You are killing it then. Nice
exactly.
job.
What, 6 years?
6 years? Yeah. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's been 6 years.
And
6
the pandemic,
years. Good job.
And the pandemic is in there, which is crazy because that definitely felt like, everyone in the world felt the slow of the momentum. So I feel very lucky that even with the pandemic in there, I've been able to stay a working actor.
To keep working, exactly. Now, another great thing about you, because I did cheat a little bit. I generally try to come in these conversations and know nothing and just kind of figure out what's going on. But I did kind of snoop on you a little bit and saw that you are 100% bilingual too.
Yes.
I love it.
Kind of snooped. You sent me a whole link about her and asked me if I read it.
Hey. Shh. I'm trying to sound like not a stalker on this thing, okay?
You're like, did you watch what I sent you today? And I'm like, no, I was working.
But I saw that. I thought that was so amazingly cool as somebody who's from Ohio and is a piece of white bread who doesn't have any culture in him hardly at all. I envy anybody who's able to do what you're doing. And even if you could only speak another language, speak Spanish and speak English, I would still be amazed. But the fact that you are actually from Mexico and now have been living your whole life in this country is like I'm very impressed with you on all that. So what do you do with your bilingual stuff, though? That's got to be a great advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I will say as far as maintaining both languages, that again is like 100% my parents doing. They both have literature degrees and theater degrees, so to them it was very important that at home we speak Spanish correctly, and we don't really get into the habit of speaking Spanglish because it's so easy and comfortable.
Oh, okay. Never even heard that before, except for the name of the movie.
The movie, yeah. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
You've never heard of Spanglish?
Just from
You really
Adam
are
Sandler
No,
movie.
I haven't.
Oh, dude, I am from
You gotta
Ohio.
come to Texas.
Like-
5 minutes in Texas.
Yeah,
You'll
we
learn
don't know
Spanglish
much
right
about
away.
Nice. No, I am really from Ohio. We really are.
Well,
so.
there you go. I mean, I will tell you, I will say Spanglish is like it's probably the third language of this country.
Gotcha. I believe it.
Yeah, which, is not bad by any means, but I do think maintaining both languages, correctly or academically
Right.
is hard. It's hard to do that, especially because I didn't, my technical education in Spanish is a 4th grade level.
Mm-hmm.
So everything beyond that has been because of like the
Right.
the stuff that my parents have given me to read and maintain. And
It's real easy to slip into the slang speak and just talking the way you feel like talking to, normal conversation.
is.
We,
I mean,
we
it's
mostly
interesting.
only know the slang. Our son's roommate is from Mexico City.
Yeah.
And, we hear about the chancla all the time. So,
yes, exactly.
Yeah, she's a fencer in
Yeah,
school
she's a-
too.
she's a
with
fencer.
sword. I was like, oh, how cool is she?
Oh.
I know, right?
Cool.
Yeah. So, but I did see that as a very cool, unique thing that you do out there. Now we're going to talk about your show, if you don't mind. I know eventually we probably are going to
go
get
for
there,
it.
right? So you play. Who do you play in the show again?
Katherine Howard,
With a K.
the 5th wife. Katherine with a K.
Catherine with a K. I'm Kyle with a K. So we're good to go. All right, the 5th wife. So the 5th wife. I'm getting the rolled eyes look from Holly. Like you're
can we
such,
ever avoid dad jokes in these podcasts?
Probably not. No, I'm sorry. But I feel like in knowing the story, which I don't know hardly at all, is this Henry VIII?
Yes, this is Henry VIII,
And
who
Henry
had 6
VIII,
wives.
Henry VIII, I am. Is that the same poem thing?
I don't
What?
think so. It's another dad
Henry-
joke.
No,
another
I
dad
think it
joke.
is.
Just-
No, there's a Henry
I don't
VIII,
know.
I am.
Okay, is this the
something.
Henry that cut all of his wives' heads off?
Well,
can't
not all of
remember.
them, only 2.
Only 2. Okay.
I mean, that's kind of enough, honestly. That's like a third.
Yeah, only 2 of them got their heads cut off. Okay, and were you one of them?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Me and Anne Boleyn.
Oh, okay. Anne Boleyn is one I have heard of before. Okay, so in the show, you have obviously there's the 6 wives of Henry VIII, and that's pretty much the whole cast, isn't it? I listened to the soundtrack of the show, but I've never actually seen the show, so it's hard for me to make out what the show's about just from listening to the soundtrack and kind of having like, well, I know he had all these wives.
Yeah.
So
Do you want
what is it?
a super
Yeah.
you want a super quick nerdy
Please.
musical theater trivia fact for you?
I would love it.
Okay, so technically we call theater albums cast recordings because it's the score of the show. It's what comes first. Whereas soundtrack means a movie soundtrack because it's what tracks underneath the dialogue.
There you go. Thank you for that.
There you go. Because
right.
if you're going to be a theater podcast guy,
I gotta try and use the right words, right?
Word.
Yeah, I gotta try and learn every day.
That's literally like the first day of Michigan musical theater. That's what they do. They teach you to say accompanist instead of accompanist,
Oh,
and then they teach you to say cast recording instead of soundtrack. So there you go. Now you have a BFA from the University of Michigan.
oh, wonderful.
He wishes.
Yeah. So is your
So
song the song where she keeps falling in love, and then can you?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell us a story a little bit? Because if we don't know, there might be a couple people that don't know out there. So what exactly is the premise
Yeah, we
of the
need to
show?
know. Kyle's just hitting random buttons over here.
I
He
am,
doesn't know.
I am. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, so Katherine Howard was the youngest of the 6 wives, and actually very little is known about her compared to like Anne Boleyn, who was so infamous.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even have a confirmed portrait of her. We don't know what she looked like. We don't even know what age she was when she was beheaded. She could have been 17 or 19. We don't know.
Oh my gosh. Really, really young.
Wow, he cut her out fast.
Yikes.
Yeah, and he was so old by then too, especially by that era. Standard.
Right, didn't you say that she was the last one? Didn't you say
fifth?
That? Oh, the fifth one.
No, she's the fifth one. And basically, what we know of her was that she was of noble birth, but her parents were not around at all, and she just kind of grew up at this noble lady's house where there were a lot of, noble gentlemen that were available to take advantage of her. And basically, like, I think what the fame of her in kind of like common parlance is that she was the whore, right? That's kind of the what is known of her. And what I think our writers do so brilliantly is that they subvert that by saying, well, actually, this girl was like 14 when all this happened. And like, when you think about it that way, it's all abuse and it's all manipulation.
Yeah, she was totally exploited.
Right. So what's so interesting about the song and playing the song is like me as an adult actor have to remember to look at it through her young eyes because she is being manipulated.
Yeah.
So it's kind of playing on all of these levels of like she keeps meeting these guys who are like, oh, you're so special to me. We have a connection, and they cross a lot of boundaries. And because she genuinely likes them and feels special, she goes with it until in the last relationship she realizes, oh my God, they're all just using me. And then when the king finds out that she wasn't pure, quote unquote, then he decides that was a huge betrayal and cuts her head off.
Oh, like she could help that.
Right, exactly. See, that's so when I hear the song and I'm listening to it and I kind of guess, well, this might be the role that Aline is going to be in. I thought that was but then when I hear it on the score, I'm like, it sounds like she's just like naive, first of all, but then also like just somebody who quickly falls in love and falls in love and falls in love. But now when I hear what it really is, from what you just told me, I'm very upset for her. That is not cool. That is not cool. Obviously,
there must have been something about her, obviously, that the creepers just kept creeping.
Yeah, I mean, and she wasn't even literate. She could barely write. Like, you look at her letters, and her little handwriting was terrible for the time. She wasn't educated because a noble woman at that time got barely any education. She didn't need it, right? Like
she was supposed to marry somebody,
being prepared to be wives.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think it was just like a bad combination of stuff. And the other thing is, by the time she grew up, the Anglican Church had already been formed, which meant that King Henry was akin to the Pope, akin to God.
Oh.
So there's also kind of this angle of it that she literally thought he was God. Because if the king is God, then the king knows everything. So
right, you can't question anything anyway, let alone question the king. Oh my gosh, it's just so many layers of terribleness that happened to this poor lady.
Right, so that's kind of the other thing that they say. It's like she didn't know she was withholding truth. She thought that because he was omnipotent, he already knew what had happened to her.
Oh my gosh. That's what they believe.
Sense. That makes sense. I guess.
I mean,
she's
just
like
a kid.
fairly young.
Still.
She doesn't know.
Yeah, she also doesn't. I'm sure know. Again, listening to the song that she does sing, I think she felt as though that these guys obviously really cared about her, and it was just terrible what kind of happened. It's kind of like the Fontaine in Les Mis, where she thought the guy loved her, and then he just bolted as soon as he could, and that's like. Ooh.
Yeah. So obviously, this it's loosely based on this, this story here, but like, how does 6 work? Like, how does it work with like the 6 wives? Like, what is the vibe that they're going for in the show?
Yeah, because it looks rocky.
Because it does. It's like, aren't the I believe the only thing I kind of know is that the wives are supposed to be kind of representative of like actual musical divas.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, basically the idea is like, the closest thing we have to like a queen today, right, would be like our pop queens.
Yes.
So the idea is much like, how Taylor Swift will take back a story of a relationship and say, this is my side of the story. That's what our writers did and said, okay, nice. Let's make a girl group out of the wives. If you want to get really academic about it, it's like a thought experiment about the subliminal space where female souls reclaim their story. Like, we can get really
I like that.
No, I love that. I love that.
No, it is an empowerment.
Like, to me, it helps me to think that they're like in purgatory, that's neither here nor there directorially, but that helps me. And yeah, and Henry is nowhere to be found.
Oh,
It's
of course,
just
and he gets to write all the
stage.
stories of how she was a whore, apparently.
Right.
It's like that didn't add up.
The only other people on stage are our band, which is an entirely non-binary and female band, which is called the Ladies in Waiting.
Oh, love that. Love that.
They travel with us on tour, which is very uncommon. Usually you get a lot of local musicians on a national tour, but because our Ladies in Waiting, our Ladies in Waiting are with us on stage, and they have choreography, and they have costumes, and they have all of these scenes and interactions with us. I mean, it really is 10 people on stage, I mean, it's all about the wives, but like our band, we have just as many funny moments with our pianist, our drummer, our bassist, and our guitarist.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, we saw Hadestown, and Hadestown, the band is such a big deal to be a part of the show as well. The trombone comes out, and you're like, okay, I did not expect that. Oh, yeah, you get it, man.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I'm not quite sure. You would have to fact check me, but I'm pretty sure Hadestown is half and half.
Oh, okay.
Like half the band travels with, like probably their trombonist, because it's so important, travels with them, but I think a lot of the other instruments are locally.
Cool. Well, I do think that it's very important in history in general, the fact that obviously it's always kind of like, well, the victors make the stories, and there is always another side. And this is possibly a way for them to be told their stories now, and best as they can, probably, right? Because like you had said, they didn't really want to put that information out there at all about these ladies anyway.
Yeah. And what's cool is that, this show is such a viral sensation, and so many young people love this story.
Well, the music is sick. I mean, that's just...
I have heard none of it. Kyle knows very well that when I don't like necessarily listening to the soundtracks because it ruins it for me. I'm like, I'm going to see it eventually, and it's going to ruin it. So
and I'm the guy who listens to the whole soundtracks over and over and over again and get there and have to not sing along with it. I'm that guy. So we're like...
He already ruined some Book of Mormon songs for me. I'm like, great, now I know what's going to happen.
I mean, I will say... This show is so catchy that you're going to leave already knowing the melodies.
I agree. It is, because the first time I listened to it, I was like, oh, wow, this is, I see why people love this already. That's why I thought maybe it was like a concert feel to it, because looking at the visuals and looking at and listening to the music, I was like, ooh, this is obviously why this is a hit.
Yeah, it has, it is a concept musical. It has more in common with the Renaissance movie than I'm talking about Renaissance Beyonce.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Then
we're old.
Renaissance Beyonce. Gotcha. All right. Thank you for filling us in. Okay, cool.
It has more in common with a concert film than a traditional book musical.
Okay, good though. It's gonna be a rocking time though. I'm sure everybody's gonna have a blast. When is it coming to Toledo, Holly?
I believe it's going to be the weekend before Turkey Day. So 14th through the 19th, I think.
Okay, good.
Yeah, November.
You go to Stranahan Theater, get your tickets right now. Everybody, go to the Theater League, get your tickets, and I'm sure it's going to be sold out. I'm sure it will be. I'll tell you, I have
no doubt. Toledo loves theater. Toledo loves theater.
And we tend to, especially our one-weekers, we tend to sell out pretty quickly. So get your tickets now.
Yeah, and there's this hotbed of, there's a podcast.
I already know people, friends of ours who have tickets. So,
Well, I'd probably, besides the season ticket holders who already have them.
No, she's not a season ticket holder.
Holly and I will be there. Opening night. We'll be there. So, yay. Thank you for coming on. I don't want to keep you too much longer here, but I appreciate you taking the time to do this for us.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to love it, Holly. You're going to love it.
Yeah, you're going to have a great time. Honestly, even more than listening to the cast recording, I think what's better is read up on some of the history of the wives.
Love it.
Well, let me tell you what. It was for me, it was either become a photographer or a history teacher, because those are the two things, and photographer won out. But I love history. Love history.
Go online, Google the BBC documentary by Lucy Worsley. That's the one that we all watched as part of our rehearsal process.
Oh, okay.
And it's a fabulous documentary, and you can kind of see, how
she's looking it up right now.
I am making notes, smart aleck.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot better, because then you get to see what the real history was and how it's subverted in the show with modern references. I think that's so much more rewarding.
Cool. Love it. If you see some strange, balding, fat, older guy screaming in the crowd, that's me.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. And they're like, hey, that's me. I'm like, I know that girl. I know her.
I love it.
Thank you for coming on.
I can't wait.
All
This
right,
is
thank you,
exciting.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. As usual, make sure you go to Apple. Give us a nice 5-star rating. If you want to leave a review because you like what we're doing here, we would appreciate it very much. And then make sure you go see Aline and have a great time because, man, it's theater. Go enjoy it.
I have a great suggestion, too, for people who don't necessarily want to leave a review.
Oh.
Like, you could leave 5 stars, but then, like, other dads should leave dad jokes
Oh, I love
in
that.
place of reviews. Like, your best dad jokes.
Best dad jokes?
Yes, and then Kyle can, like, throw it in on the next podcast.
I
Because
would-
apparently that's what he does.
That's all I do. And if it's a good one, I'll try to figure out how to work it in. Yes. Horse walks into a bar. Hey, why the long face?
Oh, my God.
All right, bye.